Yo, what is going on, guys? My name is TamezTech and welcome to a brand new video. You read the title right, we hit expert. This was back on the first day of the Go Battle days. But yeah, we had a lot of fun. We ran a bunch of super cool teams, and as you can tell by the thumbnail, my MVP was Malamar. We did run Malamar quite a few times on day one, not as much on day two, but on day one I feel like Malamar was definitely my MVP. Not so many bug bite fortress that we were super worried about, so honestly we had a blast and I cannot wait to show you guys these games. This might be a little bit of a longer video, maybe closer to 25-26 minute mark. We just had so many wins that I want to showcase as many as I can, so let's get right into the battles and let's check out these plays. First team, we have Shadow Malamar, Corviknight, and Cradley. And yeah, let's see how we do, man. Honestly, again, had so much fun. Very decent lead in the first match. Honestly, I don't think Malamar on Gastrodon is too terrible, but I do think I kind of want to pivot out of this. I have two better answers to this. I feel like Malamar might be a little bit more useful, so we make an amazing catch, and what do you know, our opponent was trying to get cheeky themselves, baiting with a body slam, so we catch an insanely resisted body slam, and we misalign the clocks quite a bit. My opponent brings in a Corviknight, and Corviknight, honestly, even with that body slam chip, I don't think they're going to be able to quite two-shot us, but maybe we can pivot out of this matchup, right? So I'm going to farm up to the payback. I know I win cap tie, which is really good, so even if we do actually get knocked out here by a second payback, I'm not tripping too much about this. I'm trying to pivot out into my Cradley. I want to try and save my Corviknight, but unfortunately I can't. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get a very, very healthy farm down with my Cradley, but my opponent brings back in their Gastrodon, and I'm thinking, man, what's up with that? So I'm going to bank a bunch of energy on Cradley. I'm going to bring in Malamar. I wasn't really intending to catch, but regardless, we are able to get a full farm down here. And what is my opponent going to show? They show Venusaur. So they were really weak to Malamar, huh? Malamar was insanely strong into this team, except for the Corviknight, of course. But even then, double foul play from Shadow Malamar puts in a tremendous amount of work. So we are going to be able to get both shields from this Venusaur. They make a really decent catch onto their Corviknight, but Cradley has a bunch of energy. We still have a shield, and honestly, Cradley has a pretty decent matchup into Venusaur anyways. So I'm just gonna shield the first one to be safe. They do bait with the sludge, but it doesn't really matter. Rock Tomb is gonna be easily able to knock out here, and we're gonna take game number one. Honestly, I am insanely excited about this video. It was such a generational run. You can see at the bottom right there, we are at 2642 elo, and we just make an insane climb in just a few sets. Very decent lead in the next match. We see Dusclops in the lead, and they safe swap on a Sumeral. We have a pretty decent answer to this. We did actually do quite a bit of damage with those Shadow Psywaves, which means that if we land this Grass Knot, we're able to shield and fully farm down this Sumeral. So we do land the Grass Knot. I do want to keep switch advantage if I can, even though I don't necessarily need it too bad. But I am going to be able to get a full acid down here. My opponent realizes that. They bring in the Dusclops. I'm going to debuff them with this Rock Tomb and look to pivot out into my Malamar. Remember, we did overfarm quite a bit with Malamar here, so we're not too far behind on energy here. My opponent throws an Ice Punch for some reason. So okay, that's totally fine. That's less energy for them. That means I can do actually 5 Psywaves in the move instead of doing 2 Psywaves in the move. My opponent brings in Fortress. I make a very bad misplay, but once again, I want to really emphasize that the damage of these Psywaves being like the very bright light that the Psywaves emit not being fixed yet. Niantic, fix your game. You guys are so lazy. It is actually ridiculous. Those Psywaves actually didn't let me see if it was a Fortress or if it was a Caesar, and by the time I realized that my health bar was completely gone, I lost all that energy. thankfully, it's not really going to matter. Fortress has a pretty bad matchup into Corviknight, and even if they debuff me with a Rock Tomb here, I can just clear it with Cradily. My opponent brings in Azumarill, trying to make a catch. Now they bring in Fortress, but we get to the Rock Tomb thanks to the farm down of the Azumarill. And yeah, my opponent just has absolutely no way out of this matchup. Even with 2 Rock Tomb debuffs here, they are not going to be able to survive this payback. And we are going to be able to take this game. But yeah, once again, I just really want to emphasize the fact that this Malamar glitch has been in the game for so long and they still haven't fixed it. It just shows how little care the company has towards their players. But well, enough with the rant. Let's get on to the next battle. We have Torterra in the lead, and honestly, not a super fun matchup here. Torterra has so much fast move pressure. As you can see, we're already at the yellow. Torterra is not quite there yet, but thankfully we do outpace pretty good here. My opponent no shields for some crazy reason there. If I superpowered, they would have been knocked out. So I'm going to pivot into my Corv. They try to snipe our Malamar with a Frenzy Plant, and man, that did 0 damage. That is so good for us. I know my Corviknight can still survive this Hydro Cannon and force a shield with the payback. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bait this with this Air Cutter. I'm going to try to get this to the second Air Cutter. Unfortunately, I don't get it. But if we did, that would have been really nice chip damage. A little bit risky of a play there for me because we weren't going to get that second Air Cutter. So if they didn't shield, we were kind of cooked. But regardless, pretty decent plays here, making the catch of the Frenzy Plant. I can bring in Malamar now into the Skater, fully knock them out. I know that Torterra is just going to be a catch for them, so I'm going to make sure they're not catching with their Empoleon, force the shield here, and then I'm going to have to pivot into my Cradily. I'm hoping that the Psy Waves have done enough damage to them that I can one-shot them with a Grass Knot. This is a Shadow Empoleon, so not too shabby for us. And at this point, I'm just gonna instantly throw my Grass Knot because I know I get it on the Cap Tie, and thankfully I'm able to trap my opponent into this Cap Tie. This should practically seal the game for us. I was a little bit scared here of them catching, but thankfully we're actually gonna acid down the Empoleon, and I try to swap out here. Very big misplay by me, but we're able to still snipe them down with a Psywave. So we are thankfully still able to get that game. All right, we see Talonflame in the lead of the next match, and honestly, this isn't very terrible. You're gonna see that these Shadow Psywaves, holy moly, they are chunking this Talonflame, man. We are able to throw our foul play after 14 Psywaves, which is really, really good for us. We obviously force a shield here, and I think I might need a pivot out of here. I kind of want to save my Malamar. I know I can do 5 Psywaves and the move here, and let's see if my opponent wants to shield this or not. My opponent shields, so I think I'm gonna do 4 more moves and catch on my Corviknight. I don't really want to have to shield yet, so if I can make this fly catch on Corviknight, I think we're in a pretty decent spot. I'm going to throw my Air Cutter right away because I know that my opponent is going to be able to get to another move here, but unfortunately Air Cutter just doesn't knock out. Suspiciously though, my opponent brings in an Annihilate, and I did boost with that Air Cutter, so this is going to do quite a bit of damage. I don't think my opponent's going to be able to farm us down all the way here, so I get to the second Air Cutter, and I'm thinking maybe this is worth the shield. I don't want to risk it. I think Cradily in the back might be the move for me, so I'm just going to bring in Malamar, instantly throw my foul play just to get rid of this ape, and hopefully Cradily can put in some work. And what do you know? It's a Gastrodon with no shields left. My opponent actually does throw on alignment here. I guess they weren't considering the one turn swap out, and I'm just gonna like be fully over farming here until I get to the back-to-back moves. Throwing a move anytime earlier would have just been a loose con for us. So yeah, GG's to my opponent there. On to the next team though. We got Gastrodon, Moltres, and a Shadow Caesar. Very, very fun teams that my viewers were recommending. And what do you know? Gastrodon is actually a very decent lead Pokemon. I do like it a little better than Marowak. I feel like Gastrodon might be a little bit less RPS. But the Body Slam spam is pretty nice. And Water Pulse does do a pretty good chunk of damage. It looks like we can two-shot this Goodra with our Body Slams, and I don't think Goodra is going to be able to two-shot us with Aqua Tails. So I think we're kind of in the driver's seat here. My opponent actually throws on kind of bad timing there. They throw their Aqua Tail a little bit too early. They did 4 Dragon Breaths in the move instead of 5. So maybe we can guarantee swap with a Mud Slap here, and we do. Gudra should be almost able to outpace there, but we are able to take that knockout. My opponent brings in Meganium here, which is such a scary Pokemon to see, but we actually wall the moveset with our Moltres. Unfortunately though, my opponent brings in a Scizor into our Moltres, and that is a very scary Pokemon to see. I think I have to stay in here with Moltres. I have to try and shield these moves because I need the fast move pressure, but I'm a little bit scared. I don't want that Meganium to kind of run away with the game. So I no shield with my Moltres. I should be able to farm down this Scizor before they get to 2 moves onto us. And thankfully, Meganium is just not going to be able to get to the moves it needs to knock us out. Meganium, if you guys didn't know, runs usually Vine Whip, but this trainer is running Magical Leaf, Frenzy Plant, and Earthquake. So of course, if they were to land an Earthquake, they would win this game, but I can just safely win this game by shielding the first move. It doesn't really matter if it's a bait or not. We're going to be able to win the game. And yeah, that's going to be a GG to my opponent. On to the next battle here. In the next battle, we are fighting an expert, so a little bit spooky, but we see a pretty decent lead. We see a Marowak in the lead, and we do have more threat for shields here, but remember, I mean, it is a little bit scary, right? Marowaks, they play to get switch advantage, and yeah, it's just a little spooky. So if there is a Bastiodon in the back, we might be cooked already. But I'm always going to be baiting with the Body Slam because I know that Marowak's left to shield. And this Marowak doesn't even know how to count because they actually cap tie us to a Body Slam. So yeah, I'm able to land damage, get a shield from them, and now I'm going to be able to get a pretty decent farm down. My opponent brings in Swilus here, which is a little bit spooky because this Pokemon does have quite a bit of fast move pressure, but they instantly throw the Body Slam, so I'm going to bank the Fly and just bring in Scizor. I know that if I bring in Scizor here, I can force a shield or a knockout with this Trailblaze, I hope. Swilus is suspiciously bulky, and what do you know? They survive on 1 HP, so we are going to have to shield this Dark Pulse because it would practically knock us out, but we are boosted. We do have a little bit of residual energy, and it is a Charge-a-Bug in the back, so honestly, maybe we should have stayed into that Swilus matchup because they have such a hard answer to Moltres, but now we get this Night Slash boost. My opponent tries for the catch there. I was just going for fast moves at that point, but now that they didn't get the catch, I can force a shield with the Night Slash, get the knockout with the Fly, we win cap tie, and that's going to be a good game. Very cheeky attempt at a play there for my opponent. I do like the Swilus pick, but we are able to take that win regardless. On to the next battle here, and you guys are seeing we are fighting a bunch of experts. We see a Carbink in the lead, very creative for my opponent. Toadscrew comes in, and we do almost wall this with our Moltres, so I'm just gonna come in here and guarantee swap. I know that I can survive 2 wraps, and if my opponent wants to go down 2 shields to get switch advantage, they can be my absolute guest. You know, I really do not mind. Scizor into Carbink is gonna be amazing. So my opponent doesn't want to do that. They know that we can win. Switch pretty confidently there, so they're gonna no shield. I was hoping, I didn't want to throw my Brave Bird instantly because I was hoping that I could throw 1 Fly and then bank another for the inevitable double Mud Slapper that we were gonna see, but the switch clock just wasn't up yet, so unfortunately not able to do that. But what do you know, it is the freaking double slapper team. This trainer is very, very creative, but thankfully we are going to be able to put them in their place. This Torterra, check this out. This Torterra is so desperate for the win. We call a Sand Tomb bait. We do not need to shield that, and now this Carbink has absolutely no play. We can just get to the double water pulses and completely win this match. My opponent might be a little bit bitter that we are completely beating them with their cringe team, so they are going to play this out. They're playing to the cap ties here and there. It does not matter. We still have our shield. We can land this water pulse, and this is going to be a good game. So calling that Sand Tomb bait actually did win us the game, so it was a lot closer than it should have, but that team is very cringe. So yeah, goodbye. On to the next battle here. We see Moltres in the lead, and that is absolutely terrible for us. I'm going to bring in my Caesar here, and I know that I am a turn behind because I swapped in. So I'm going to have to throw my Night Slash right before they get to their fly, or I'm just going to lose out on my turn. And what do you know? We get the Night Slash boost. This is absolutely terrible for my opponent. Honestly, I did not deserve to get that boost, but we are able to force that Moltres to pivot out. So now that we're boosted, this Toxapex is not going to like taking all these bullet punches, and we save our Caesar. We are one away from a Night Slash on Caesar. We are able to bring in Gastro into this Toxapex, farm it all the way down, catch the brine, and now that we have energy for that Moltres, I don't think it can come back in. It is a Cradily in the back though, a little bit of a spooky Pokemon. Thankfully for us though, this Cradily is on Bullet Seed, which is a very weird play. I don't think I've seen a Bullet Seed Cradily in quite some time. But what this means is that we can confidently survive a Rock Tomb with our Moltres, right? So I'm going to bring in Caesar. My opponent brings in their own Moltres. And at this point, once again, I think like letting go of a Brave Bird here is the lose con, right? If they land a Brave Bird, they can just basically knock us out. So I am a little bit more scared of Brave Bird than Rock Tomb, but once again, we are not going to get knocked out by one Rock Tomb, and since they have no fast move pressure with these Bullet Seeds, I can just confidently get to the Brave Bird. Even if they survive the Brave Bird and knock us out somehow, I have a Night Slash on my Caesar, so this is a very easy guaranteed win for us. But yeah, a little bit spooky with the Moltres lead there, but kind of got bailed out by that boost. All right, and on to the final team of the day, guys. We got Corsola, Caesar for Alligator. I know that the viewer that was recommending this team to me, they wanted me to use Dusclops in the lead, but I don't have a non-shadow Dusclops. So I thought Corsola was a pretty good, if not better, replacement there. We see a terrible lead with Wigglytuff. We are kind of ABA weak to Wigglytuff, but thankfully my opponent lets me land quite a bit of bullet punches. They bring in a Bastiodon, and this isn't terrible for us. I know that I can kind of force a shield here or alignment, and we are pretty boosted here. So if they do let this go, I'm going to land a double boosted Bullet Punch into whatever they bring. So they do shield that, which is pretty good for us. They bring back in the Wigglytuff, and look at how low this Wiggly is already, man. Again, them letting us land all those Bullet Punches into them were really, really helpful. I do get debuffed there, so I want to pivot out. I'm going to throw my Hydro Cannon instantly because I know Wigglytuff will outpace before I get my Hydro Cannon on good timing. And what do you know? They actually shield that. So I'm going to shield back myself. They seem to be a little bit scared of Gator. I'm hoping that I can do something here. I'm going to farm up quite a bit here, get to the back-to-back moves. And honestly, this is looking a little bit dire. We get the knockout of the Wigglytuff, but we are running out of resources, and my opponent has a Mandibuzz. I don't know why my opponent didn't bring Mandibuzz into Caesar when they completely wall the moveset. I feel like bringing Basti there was kind of a dumb play, but regardless, unfortunately for us, my opponent will be able to take this win. We just do not have enough energy on Corsola to knock out this Mandibuzz. We need 3 power gems, and we're just never going to get there. So I am able to get the knockout of the Mandibuzz with the Gator here, but unfortunately we need a whole other move to get rid of this Basti, so that's going to be a good game. On to the next battle here. We are very, very close to expert, guys, so if we can save this set, we might have a chance. But what do you know? We see the absolute worst Pokemon we could see with this team, Greninja. Greninja walls all of our movesets. It walls 4 out of our 6 charge moves. It walls every single fast move. It is just a tremendously scary Pokemon to see. My opponent brings in their Caesar after we bait them with a Night Slash, but we are up on energy since we baited, so we are able to outpace the Caesar. And at this point, I don't really want to go down shields. I don't need switch advantage. I know that Greninja is going to be bad for me wherever it is, so I'm just going to bring in my Gator, get an energy lead. I know that this Night Slash is going to do quite a bit of damage, but I can't afford to no shield it, right? I mean, I can't afford to shield it. If they boost, they just knock out with the next, and I know that they can't really fast move me down, so I'm kind of just keep playing this matchup out with my Gator. They do seem a little bit scared of Gator, so I'm gonna be careful with a catch here, make sure they don't try to catch instantly. Get the knockout with this Hydro Cannon, and let's see what they got in the back. They have a Dusclops, which is amazingly good for us. Since we throw on good timing against the Greninja, we are able to outpace the Dusclops to this Hydro, and landing that Hydro is just going to be a GG. Dusclops is going to need 3 moves to knock us out. I feel like the better play here would have been to bank the Hydro Cannon and then bring in Corsola to avoid giving the Dusclops as much energy as it could. But regardless, we are able to take that game, so GG's to my opponent there. All right, we see a pretty decent lead in the next match. Cradily, the worst part about this lead is that we do get debuffed quite a bit, so I might be looking to pivot out of this matchup after landing a move or 2. The good thing is that Cradily can never farm us down, so they're gonna need 3 moves no matter what. This only occurs if you have a really high rank Corsola, right? So we have to be a little bit careful about that. My opponent, though, bring in the Spies. They bring in a Koffagrigus. I force a shield with Nightshade, even though it was debuffed. Very nice for us. We bring in for Alligator, and I know that nothing they throw is going to be able to one-shot me here, so I'm just going to no shield first. I'm going to throw my Hydro Cannon instantly, force a shield or a knockout, and we are back in it, baby. My opponent brings in Cradily, and at this point, you know what? I think Caesar might be able to run away with this game. Let's see what my opponent has. I do want to wait the clock down a little bit because the clocks are pretty misaligned. So I'm going to wait all the way down, bring in my Caesar. My opponent has a Gastrodon in the back, which is definitely a scary Pokemon. But we are able to outpace to the double Trailblaze since we have 2 shields. So I throw my Trailblaze, my opponent tries to call the bait since that was their only win con left, and we're able to take that game. On to the next battle here, we see Altaria in the lead, and honestly, this is a pretty good lead. This definitely would have been a better lead for Dusclops since we pace so much quicker to Ice Punch, and Ice Punch is just going to do a tremendous amount of damage into this Altaria, double super effective damage. But we have to settle for the Power Gem on Corsola. It does look like we can land a Power Gem and farm all the way down. My opponent makes a weird play here. They Moonblast. It does do more damage, but I don't think I'm going to get knocked out by a Sky Attack here. I feel like you kind of have to play the once. So we don't get knocked out. We get to the Nightshade. We did have the Power Gem, but I don't really play Corsola too much, so we're able to guarantee swap. Unfortunately for us, swap doesn't really mean much. Of course, I do want the fast move pressure from Shadow Claw on this Empoleon, but Empoleon is just kind of a tricky Pokemon for us to deal with. So I'm going to overfarm a little bit here, throw the Hydro Cannon right before they get to their second move here. And if they no shield this, we are back in it, baby. Empoleon is so bad for us. I don't know how my opponent didn't realize how bad this Pokemon was for us. We kind of lag a little bit there. We do the little trick. It is Piloswine in the back, and we're able to win this game. We would have been so cooked if we had Caesar into Empoleon. So yeah, GG's to my opponent there. All right, we see Caesar in the lead in the next match, and honestly, this is a pretty good lead for Caesar. Caesar can guarantee how this matchup is going to go, right? So if I no shield the first Night Slash, they can farm us all the way down. My opponent makes a really nice catch on a Florges, but trainer, I have a very good answer to this. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do 2 more Astonishes, bring in my Caesar. I know I don't have to shield anything from this Pokemon, but you know what? Maybe Caesar has a little bit of play. I know that Caesar teams, especially when they leave Caesar, they are very weak to Caesar in the back, right? So if I can keep my Caesar around, keep some HP on it, maybe I can make it work for me, right? My opponent brings back in their own Caesar, which again, a little bit suspicious, you know, Caesar into Caesar is not an amazing matchup. So what I'm going to do here is farm them all the way down. And what do you know? Double weak to Caesar in the back. Very, very good for us. And here is the reveal, guys. Here's the reveal. We get Expert 2772, an insane climb for us. Very, very fun day. Honestly, these three teams that we played were so insanely good. I am very, very happy with them. This last team, a little bit too spooky into Greninja, like I said earlier, but I really did enjoy Shadow Malamar for the most part, so feel free to copy that. But yeah, guys, that is going to do it for today's video. I sure hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please check out my Twitch channel. Please leave a like, a comment, and if you do not mind, subscribe to my channel. I'm desperately trying to get to 1,000 subscribers so I can finally start monetizing these videos, and maybe I can even start making better, more high quality videos into this channel. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.